I've done my bit for the sponsorship thing now.
And if you super elections here, you'll win, I think. So yeah, I mean,
but these guys will be in Alibag on election day. They won't be voting.
But just to pick up on the theme of education.
Okay. And just to come to the defense of the poor voter who Sohail has completely berated. Again, Shekhar's articles, where he says that clearly what's happened now over the years is that the fact that you're seeing more and more governments being voted back to power because of performance is a sign of maturity. You're no longer just throwing out incumbents because of incumbency. Yeah. So
I want to pick up. No, go ahead, please.
In Sohail, it's always fun to listen to you. But
that's why we get him on TV.
Just to put a different perspective, right? If you think about how US, which is the largest economy in the world, right, recovered. Mike Evans, who is sitting here, came and told me a few hours ago that the US government was shut. Right? And if you look at the latest data, the number of non-farm jobs doubled, and that was good news. So, you know, to expect, and particularly when we are reimagining India, to expect government to do everything,
I agree,
is really not the right sense. It's fun, but you know, to put it seriously, if you think about the US, think about the recovery in the US. The recovery in the US is primarily because of their embracing innovation. If you think about the energy revolution that is now primarily, it's not government, it's not the Congress. These guys don't even work there. Forget here. So this is a global phenomenon.
In fact, right? I'm saying if you shut down India's government, India's GDP will increase by at least 10 to 15%. It's exactly the point that I'm making.
So I wanted to pick up on the themes that you said, Sohail, as well as on education, as well as what Mukesh, you mentioned, right? Which is it's not all to the government. And then I think several essays in the book talk about the great importance of education and healthcare in the development of a country over a long period of time. And I think there are several essays that talk about the fact that today, we are not doing as well on primary and secondary education. Forget about tertiary education. We need to bring a very high level of quality and literacy. And there's both bad news and good news in it. The bad news is we aren't doing so well. And so in Madhav Chauhan's essay that he talks about, and in Salman Khan, not the actor, but the person who runs Khan Academy, and has come out with a series of technologies that allow you to accelerate education using broadband, using connectivity. So as broadband spreads across India, we have an opportunity to leapfrog using technology to in fact improve not just education, but healthcare and other things also. Yeah. And in many parts of the country, in different states and in different school systems, you can see little glimmers of the use of technology that allows us to leapfrog. And so in a sense, that technology, leapfrog, will also be driven quite a lot by the private sector. It's not going to be government driven other than allowing somebody to play in that.
And setting the backbone.
And so, you know, Vinod Khosla has a wonderful essay called Leapfrogging. It says, why should India follow the same path that others have followed? Why should we teach in our classrooms the same way as we have taught for many years? There are technologies that allow us to do in 5 years what other countries have done in 20 years using technology. And we are just on the cusp of that revolution. So one of the things that gives us hope and gives many of the authors hope is that many of these problems that would take a long time to solve, if we tried to solve them in the old way, if we are creative, if our private sector gets into it and we put our minds to it, that we can in fact solve these problems very well. Now that, by the way, that's no guarantee that we will. Yeah. It just says that you could.
Let me just take off from there, because I think Nitin Nori also writes about that, because to use technology you need to be innovative. And he says, and to sum up what he writes, he says that three keys to value creation in the new world are efficiency, local responsiveness, and innovation. Indian companies score very high on the first two, but he says that they aren't innovative enough. Would you agree with that, or can we get more innovative, Mr. Mani?
Well, I think that what you are now seeing in terms of execution, right, we are no less innovative.
Okay.
See what Anand on a standalone basis has done with his own design and car and now brands, right? And I can give you examples. I think that also we must be proud of the kind of value innovation that we do in our own country. When we talk about, again, reimagining India and talk about how we embrace technology, I think that embracing technology is going to really deepen education. Education, undoubtedly, I couldn't agree with Sohail and Adil more in terms of saying that education is the single most important emphasis. We have a big education system. We've got to make it more effective. In many, many areas, we've got to transform it completely. But if we embrace technology, if we embrace the spread of this, then the benefit, like what took 25, 30 years to do, we can now do in 5 or 10 years. And these next 10 or 15 years are critical because we still have 245 million people in the age group of 15 to 25 today who have to become productive, and they are our real assets. So if I think about a reimagined India, to my mind, education, livelihoods, the ability to earn today, right, the ability to earn from the economy today, and health are the 3 most important things. And all these get transformed by technology in a very short span of time. So if you take broadband technology, if you take the opportunities, and here access is irrespective of geography. So you can access them in all the 5,432 small towns and cities and the 600,000 villages in literally a matter of a couple of years, and then the scale up. And that's what gives me at least optimism and positivity.
Vishakhi.
Yeah, I think that it's really important to realize that when you, for example, if you follow the social media with young people, which I actually try to do before this session, there's tremendous aspiration. And even in the book, the word that keeps coming up is aspiration for young people. But the systems fail them. And we have to realize that. In fact, even with education, the percentage that we spend on education is still pathetically low. And when you compare it even to China, in the 70s, we were exactly the same. And where we are today compared to where China is. So we have to recognize that. And I think that it's about systems, and it's about effectiveness of systems. It's also about quality control. So you have tremendous amount of education and even new technology. I don't think it'll be an answer by itself unless we actually also think about the quality. Because when we figure out that lots of engineers are coming out, but they can't do the jobs. So even education by itself is not the answer unless we go back to innovation and system and distribution.